big panel. We'll start with Mike Alvaro, President for New York Disability Advocates.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much for having us here. I'm with New York Disability Advocates. That's a statewide coalition of providers. We have over 350 providers, and that is 6 associations: IAC, the New York Alliance, New York Emerging and Multicultural Providers, the ARC of New York, DAWNY, and where my day job is, CP State. And I'm going to be repetitive. We have needs. We have gotten a group together, and we have come together on our ask. And our ask is, pretty simple. We need a COLA, the 3.2% that you've been talking about. It functions as a Medicaid rate. We have had more than a decade of cuts and no investment in our system. And the recent COLAs have been helpful, but they don't make up for where we were. When we do have a COLA, and I think it's important when you hear some of the other testimony today, the 5.4% COLA was used, created a 7.2% increase in salaries. That the providers got the funds and created and reinvested in their workforce. So we need not a 1.5% COLA, but we need the full COLA. We are losing ground, and we need to make sure that we bring the field back up to where it was back many years ago. We also need a direct support wage enhancement. Senator Mannion was talking about the bill that he and Assemblymember Seawright have. We are looking for that $4,000 investment. We need not just to have our organizations be brought up to a certain point, but we need to make sure that the staff in our field are brought to a living wage. That $4,000 investment will do that. We've had vacancy rates. The crisis in the workforce has been significant. We've had vacancy rates right now of about 17%, but we've been as high as 30%. What has happened is that the investment in our workforce has made a difference, but we are still at significant levels of shortages and staff crisis levels across the state. These are not minimum wage jobs. They are not home care, and we did not receive the benefit of home care. We need to keep the separation from minimum wage jobs and the jobs that are in this field. Right now, 44% of our folks have a college degree. Our DSPs, we have 110,000 statewide. 70% are women, 65% are Black, Asian, or Latino. Yet 80% of those folks make less than $20 an hour. There's an imbalance between the skills needed and the compensation they receive. We've conducted a survey, the Miami, Ohio survey that included 4,500 DSPs, and we found that 85% like their job, and of those folks that like their job, 1 in 4 are not satisfied with their pay, which makes it very difficult to keep them. The problem with our, so I'll be really quick, we need the 3.2% and an investment in our workforce.
Thank you.
Mike? Yep. Thank you for making the distinction between home care and direct care, and we'll continue to have that conversation. And I sat up here for a workforce hearing where someone testified many years ago when they worked as a DSP. The minimum wage was $2.75. They received $5. That's what drew them into the profession. That leads me to my question, which is, you have seen a decrease in the number of vacancies. Do you attribute that to, would number 1 on the list be because of the wage increases that have been provided over the last couple of years?
Yes, I think that personally probably that is the biggest driver, but that doesn't resolve the issue of the discrepancy between the level of the minimum wage and where we are as a field. Right now, we're very close to the minimum wage, and the state-operated facilities doing the exact same work are making a lot more money for the same amount. For example, let me just give you a couple of them right here, that the workers who are starting in downstate that work in the voluntary sector are making $17 or $34,000 a year, and the state operator making $55,000 a year. In upstate, state operator are making $50,000 a year, and starting salaries are $33,000 a year. So those differences are so significant. Yes, we've gotten the number down, but the fluctuation is still there, and we're still spending over $100 million a year in the churn because we aren't able to keep the staff on board.
Agreed. We need to set apart from...
My question to the NIDA president, Mike Alvaro. What's the outlook for provider agencies under the proposed executive COLA of 1.5%?
The COLA is really important for things like insurance. We all live in the world today, right? The insurances alone, we're seeing anywhere from a 20 to 30% increase across our agencies. That alone, the 1.5% doesn't cover. We aren't really able to maintain operations, so the 1.5% really is not going to keep up with the day-to-day operations and the money needed to keep our doors open. We fall further behind.
Thank you.
Giglio.
Good afternoon. Thank you all, and thank you for your advocacy. So we know that there's no shortage of people that are seeking assistance as parents age out and are trying to get their family members or children into programs. But we know that there is a shortage with the DSPs. And from what I'm being told is that the increase from the 1.5% to the 3.2% would be $50.8 million. $50.8 million. And the wage enhancements would be another $125 million. Budgets are about priorities, and it's a small price to take care of our most vulnerable population. And I urge my colleagues, as they have done in the past years that I've been here, to continue their advocating and their voice being heard in the budget process to make sure that 3.2% of a COLA increase is the minimum.